How's it, everyone? We are the Joystick Show, where your three favorite friends from Hawaii are back to talk story about the latest things we've read, watched, or played. We'll share our shtick with you, so thanks for sticking around. If you fancy what you hear, please like and subscribe on the platform you frequent, anywhere you can get podcasts, and we are now on the YouTubes. So please check us out when you can, like and subscribe, etc., etc. I am your co-host, Drake, and that is Thomas.
What up, what up? I am tired.
I am also tired, but not as tired as our third absent co-host, Scott, who is currently working a long time. And he is a brave soul for doing so, and we respect and love him and hope he gets off of work and can relax and not hate what he's doing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right? And don't we all just hate, and don't we all just hope we don't hate what we're doing? I think that's what I was trying to say.
That's pretty much life, right? You come out of the womb and then you hope you don't hate life.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that made me not hate my life was San Diego Comic-Con, which we're going to be talking about. Oh, yeah. I got some things to discuss from that. You watched Jack Ryan Season 4, and Lincoln Lawyer was a Season 1.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about Oppenheimer and Barbie. The Barbenheimer.
Oppenbury? Man, that's hard to go the opposite way if you're not doing Barbenheimer.
I guess it only goes one way. And I also think I was going to say that's the way you should watch the movies, but it's not. I think you should 100% watch Barbie after Oppenheimer, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. First up, man, so San Diego Comic-Con happened this past weekend. What a time. The overall event was a ton of fun. Got to meet so many cool people, got to go to so many awesome panels, see so much incredibly well done cosplay. The booths were super interactive and really cool looking. All in all, just a really good, fun event.
Yeah. Okay. So I've never been to one. I've only seen them in like memes and like clips. I remember I would assume it's a little bit like G4, but from your perspective,
G4.
One thing that you totally loved and one thing you could have left behind in this year's San Diego Comic-Con.
I like that. That was a great question. So some of the things I absolutely loved was something that I didn't really expect. Through LA Comic-Con last year, I got really lucky and fortunate to talk to some top comic book writers and, a few directors and some actors. I didn't get a lot of that this year, but some people I did get to talk to were other higher up content creators, if you will. Oh, I hate the term content creator.
CCs.
Yeah, but there were some really cool people. Brandon Davis, I mentioned in a video on Instagram, but it was really cool. He hosts Phase Zero. He is a comicbook.com interviewer. I mean, he's done everybody from The Rock to Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, Rebecca Ferguson. I mean, just every major A-lister he's been able to talk to. For the most part, it seems like. And I just caught him in between a panel. And because there was no Hall H this year, where normally the MCU would be presenting their biggest movies and shows, it also felt like some of the smaller panels were just getting jammed, which wasn't my favorite. But I saw him sitting off to the side when I was trying to get into the X-Men the Animated Series panel. It was ridiculous. It was like around the whole damn building. So he was there, and I just went up to him and was like, "Hey man, it was super awesome to see you, and I really am a fan of your work. I listen to Phase Zero every week." And we just got to sit down and chat for like 30 minutes to an hour and just kind of hear the behind the scenes of how he got into the industry, some highs and lows of his job, maybe what some actors are really like in real life, which was amazing, and just a really solid dude. I was just so impressed with. He is 100% the guy that you see on the podcast or you hear in the podcast. He's that person in real life, and it's so nice. You never know when you go up to meet someone who they actually are. You don't know, right? If it's an act. I mean, especially if you're talking to people in this industry, it's like, yeah, sometimes it feels like it's an act, but for him, he's so genuine, so real, along with, a friend of a show who always get to run into Juju or Straw Hat Goofy online, the same way. They're both so genuine and down to earth. It was sick. So it was really great connecting with those guys again, and just some other podcasters who, are doing a fantastic job with their shows. That was definitely a highlight.
Tight. Well, okay. So out of all of that, what would you have left behind?
Oh, left behind. So, and this is nothing against the event. I think that they did an amazing job with what's going on in Hollywood right now and all the different cancellations and things they had to navigate. But because there wasn't a Hall H panel, it felt to me like there was a little bit of a gap in San Diego Comic-Con. Like it felt like something was missing, and I really wanted to it would have just been great to go see the Marvels, as they release it. Maybe some of the actors are there and the director, like that would have been an awesome time. But yeah, it felt like there was, missing pieces from DC not being able to showcase their movies, or Marvel or Amazon Prime or any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, just, again, I didn't hate it. It wasn't, a shortcoming of the event's fault, but it was a downside to the circumstances of what's going on in the outside world.
Dang. Speaking of what's going on in the outside world, the SAG-AFTRA strike, also the writers' strike is happening concurrently. Actually, a lot of strikes going on, even in the logistics business. UPS, what can Brown do for you? They're potentially going on a strike August 1st. Wow. So a lot of, looks like, movement towards kind of better pay, more healthcare, especially because we live in such a globalistic society. But I did want to mention, as somebody who's been a part of now 2 separate unions, who's been and is currently a union steward, I think that there's something to be said for individuals who are either doing a service and or providing content and creation. There needs to, especially when there's consumption of something and it becomes not only a necessity, but sometimes a luxury, right? I think it's very important to, especially in America, we are a capitalistic society. We need to think about the workers just as much as we think about what the product can then yield for the executives and for the businesses as a whole, to continue to, innovate and build upon their brand. A lot of the workers and a lot of the people who are on the ground doing the work kind of get left behind to a degree. I think, especially in a society we live in where we just want kind of like the short and sweet, we have to kind of really think about where it all comes from. And I support all of those individuals who are fighting for their rights and just better overall situation for themselves and their families. I think we can't forget that while we are watching all this cool stuff and absorbing all this cool content that's currently out there. That being said, the whole time I was saying that, and the whole time you were speaking about San Diego Comic-Con, I was thinking about making a short about Vincent D'Onofrio and how many times fans come up to him and ask him to repeat the lines from MIB1 where he's the cockroach.
Okay, yeah.
For some reason, I just couldn't stop thinking about that. So imagine the short, right, where you're just like his publicist or whatever, and he's at a table and he's signing autographs, and like 1 out of every 5 people are like, "Oh, can you repeat the line from MIB, like sugar or blah blah blah." Yeah, and then he does it. Suit. And he's kind of like bummed out about it. At the same point in time, then he goes home and then he rips off his skin. He is the cockroach, and it turns out there's going to be an MIB4 with the original cast.
Wow. Did you just write some fan fiction for a Vincent D'Onofrio con attendance?
Yeah, I mean, they have I forget the guy's name from Evil Dead.
Bruce Campbell?
Yeah, they have Bruce Campbell con pretty much. So why not Vincent D'Onofrio con? He's so diverse, man. He's a cockroach from space. He's a supervillain, and what else did he? Oh, he's also like a criminal intent investigator. So
Little bit on Drake. Hates Lin-Manuel and loves Vincent D'Onofrio enough to have a whole con dedicated just to him.
Yeah. Seems he's
All right, we're learning about Drake today.
Very diverse.
No, I'd be for it, man. I love Vincent D'Onofrio. The guy is awesome in everything he does. I mean, truthfully, I'm on board with that. Yeah, I wonder. There's probably so many people who have their con personalities and then they have their real personality, you know? And it's really refreshing when you meet people who are the same in real life as they are portrayed on screen. But damn, that's probably hard because with this many fans, I think there's 130,000 people that normally show up to San Diego for San Diego Comic-Con. And it felt like it. Like Saturday was so busy. It was so action-packed. But yes, I bring it full circle because you made a lot of really good points. Yes, I think my thoughts are well documented on our social media. I fully stand with SAG-AFTRA. I think that, job security, we're talking about health insurance. All they have to do is make $26,000 a year, which only, 3% of actors make. And then,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then, residuals. Before when you were on cable TV, you get residuals and that might help you pay for health insurance, save up, pay your mortgage, send your kids to college. Those options aren't there. But you guys will come here for a full breakdown. If you want, hit me up or hit us up on the Joystick Show social medias and I will break it down for you on everything that's going on with the strike in Hollywood. Fully stand with all of our friends over there as well. Man, the cosplay also at San Diego Comic-Con, fantastic. People brought it this year. So much Demon Slayer, awesome DC characters, awesome Marvel characters, tons of Spider-Verse. If you haven't, go back on our social media. I try to do a recap video for every single day, so go check it out. I think it's awesome. But there was also some announcements that were dropped during San Diego Comic-Con that were really freaking cool.
Tell us about them.
Yeah. One of them was the Marvels, and which is going to be, a follow-up to Captain Marvel, that movie from, I want to say 2018, 2017 maybe. Some time ago, really, it had mixed reviews. I didn't truly love it when it came out, but I've now come to look at it more fondly. And then we have Secret Invasion and Miss Marvel that I think are directly tied into this movie. And what did you think about it? Just quickly on what you saw from the trailer.
I think the three of them seemed like they had really good chemistry from the trailer. They it wasn't tropey by any means, but it did feel like there was a lot to be gained, especially on the circumstance they kind of alluded to in the trailer, which was their powers, when they use them, switch them in between each other, or I guess places. Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting situation. I don't think we've ever seen in a comic book movie, so could be fun.
Yeah, it could, right? It's like not quite a body swap, but it's like a place swap. And I like how they're differentiating the powers, which is really cool. I was already on board with this movie, but man, it looks awesome. And they continue to use that Beastie Boys song, milking the shit out of it. And it works. Like Intergalactic, I think, is a great song for an intergalactic adventure.
Makes
for
sense.
Like three space powered heroes.
Yeah.
So,
could have been Drops of Jupiter. That's also a space-related movie. Show.
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah. We should try to dub it over. Do you think the trailer will still be as action-packed?
I feel like, as Lizzie McGuire said in How I Met Your Father, that it's a all-time great song that can be played for any occasion. So maybe. Who knows? Yeah,
and I totally take whatever Lizzie McGuire says to heart every time.
I do. That was my favorite song in high school. And when Liz McGuire said that on there,
how did I not know that?
I got super emo to it when I was in high school. I used to literally listen to it while I was peering out into the space in the evening time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, man. I mean, I guess that could work. I don't know how action-y you would feel, but it means something to you, and that's what's
maybe
important.
If you had Disclosure pump it up, or maybe they put in some drum and bass. I don't know.
Yeah, chopped and screwed or something like that online or something. As the kids are saying on the talks.
Oh, yeah. Say less.
Right. We also got some other announcements at San Diego Comic-Con. Kevin Smith was there to talk about He-Man, which He-Man Season 2 looks really phenomenal. Who else is in it? Mark Hamill is back. They've added some other big heavy hitters to the cast. It kind of looks cool. I feel like I might have to revisit that. The other thing was Andy Samberg is coming out with a comic book with the Joe Troman from Fallout Boy, which is the weirdest thing.
What?
Yes, it is a comic book series that is based around a bowling hero who has to defend his town from neo-Nazis.
Wait. Like bowling ball and pins bowling?
Yes. Wow, you have to check it out. I'm trying to see what the series is called. I can't find it off the top of my head. I'll put it on the show notes or something, but it looks badass actually. And so Google that, like bowling hero Andy Samberg, Joe Troman, and it should pop up. And the cover looks sick. It kind of reminds me of what was the? Have you seen it?
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called The Holy Roller.
Holy Roller. It looks sick, dude. Right? His head kind of looks funky, but like the suit actually looks it kind of looks like Kick-Ass style a little bit. Yeah, Kick-Ass.
It's giving me Metal Gear Solid round vibes.
There you go. Yeah,
very
man.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, it's crazy. We also got Star Wars Outlaws did a great breakdown, which is super cool. It's an open world game set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Dude, it looks phenomenal. Like the writer, the guy from Ubisoft, a guy from Star Wars, and then the head writer for the video game were there and talking about it. It looks super cool. And just being able to like explore these different planets in the Star Wars universe and then jump into a ship and then dogfight in space and then fly to another planet just sounds crazy. It looks pretty damn good. Were you able to check it out?
I've seen a trailer on it. I've seen a little bit of like dev talk about it. What I think about it as
did they say?
That
was bad.
I was like, whoa, that threw me off a little bit. I was like, wait, what?
Sorry. Bad.
No. It reminded me of when Ghost Recon Wildlands came out, and I was like, open world like game, but now it's like open world Star Wars. I mean, granted, it's not necessarily a Jedi situation, but you still get that overall vibe. And Ubisoft is doing it. Ubisoft obviously is like the open world, action RPG type situation now. Speaking about Ubisoft, I know we talked about this offline, but Ubisoft deletes inactive accounts according to its own interpretation of its Article 5.1e of the European Union's GDPR law. So if you're not using your account, they're going to close that shit, and then you're not going to be able to have your data, apparently. So
damn, that's confirmed? That was is that just for Europe, or do you know if that's for like the US, or is that just all around the world?
Yeah, I believe it's all around the world. I'm reading this article in a TechSpot.
Okay.
If it's inactive for too long, so apparently you can kind of delay it if you get into your account every 30 days. But we'll kind of see. If that's going to be a huge. Obviously, they want you to continue to use your account, blah, blah, blah. And especially with more of their games coming out, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. But at the same point in time, like, you work super hard, you get all these things, you download all this content, and then all of it's gone just because maybe you had to work for a month or so, 20 hours a day or whatever, what I mean? So that's kind of a bummer. But
all right,
speculation.
Well, if you buy Outlaws, you better keep playing that bitch, because otherwise your data will disappear one day.
Yep.
Yeah. So a few other quick announcements. We got some footage from X-Men the Animated Series, which looks awesome. Man, keep your eye out for that. I don't think it's coming out this year. I think it will come out next year. But if you were a fan of the 90s cartoon, it's coming back and they've updated some things and it looks incredible. We got an announcement for Spider-Man 2. They kind of showed some stuff about Venom in it and more about Harry Osborn. So some people are thinking maybe he's Venom, maybe Kraven becomes Venom in it. Do you have a theory of who might be Venom for Spider-Man 2?
I hope. Are we not thinking Eddie Brock?
We haven't seen Eddie Brock in the trailers, So that's why everyone's like, it has to be somebody they've shown, but maybe it is. My theory is that maybe the symbiote jumps on Kraven at the end. Miles and Peter defeat him. And then at the end of that game, the symbiote leaves Kraven and finds Eddie Brock and jumps on him. Then boom, you got Spider-Man 3.
Man, that'd be super tight. Well, so when you talked about Venom in general, I remember, and this is tangential, but there's all this other symbiotes were like turned into like a mega symbiote. There's this one bad guy and he was like sucking in all of the symbiotes, and now there's like there's just so much different symbiotes. I wonder why there's not more of that in Spider-Man, I guess. This is a tangential thought. Please don't judge us for this.
Yeah, but, like, wait, where are we going with this? Yeah. I mean, I have no King clue. In Black was pretty symbiote heavy, I would say. And that was recently. Yeah. And that was sick. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Good. I appreciate you throwing it out there.
Well, hopefully it ends up leading to Eddie Brock in general. I think, as a fan, you want to see kind of the OGs and then, expound upon that, create a good base and then move forward. But we'll see how it goes.
We will see. We also got some footage from Mortal Kombat 1, and they are featuring Omni-Man, Homelander, and Peacemaker, which is crazy. Ooh. Like, I don't really play a lot of fighting games. Does this make you want to pick up Mortal Kombat or pick up a new fighting game?
I mean, to be honest, I would, if, let's say I was going over to your house and you had it and you were like, hey, do you want to play video games? Mm-hmm. Let's play Mortal Kombat. And I'd be like, Mortal Kombat? Why? We've played there's been like 50 Mortal Kombats. And you're like, oh, well, this one has Omni-Man, et cetera, et cetera. I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. Like, if it's in front of me, for sure. I want to see how graphically they're going to do. I want to see all the fatalities. And having watched Invincible, knowing how gory it was and knowing how, adulty it could be in Mortal Kombat, I mean, yeah, give us that gore. Let me see all these fatalities. Let me see the friendship. Let me see the animalities.
Absolutely.
So to that question, yes, I would if it was in front of me, based on the characters added in there.
I know.
And you?
Yeah, sick. I think the character's great. I don't know if it's going to make me buy the game, but I'll definitely watch people play it on Twitch or Kick or something because, I want to see the dialogue between them. I want to see their combos. I want to see the fatalities. So that was pretty sick. And they have J.K. Simmons doing the voice of Omni-Man. So it's legit. That's super. Oh, I hope they do Anthony Starr for Homelander as well and John Cena for Peacemaker. That'd be super sick. I'd be super down with that. So, yeah, man. Looks awesome. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on was, two things. We also got, I guess, a trailer for Invincible Season 2. And I'm so excited about that. Last night, I actually watched Adam Eve. It's basically a short movie that's now on Amazon Prime for Adam Eve. And her origin story is super damn good. And all the violence, all the tension, all the drama of season 1 is packed already into that short movie. Man, where season 1 leaves off for Invincible, I can't even imagine what season 2 is going to be about. It's going to be gnarly.
Yeah, in terms of, so for example, what Amazon has been doing with The Boys and kind of getting into like, not necessarily like a subgenre, but doing their own like superhero thing, but adulting it. Mm-hmm. I really think that Invincible has really hit it out of the park, especially having seen James Gunn's Peacemaker. There's so much more availability in terms of audience variance that we can still enjoy comic material just in different, I guess you could call it like genres, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. The mediums. The mediums are branching out everywhere, and I love it. Yeah, so check that out. And then the last thing, one of the coolest couple panels I went to. Dang it, I keep saying only a few left, but I keep adding more. A couple of great panels. Again, shout out to Giraffe. If you're watching Strange New Worlds, check out the Strange New Pods podcast because it's really a great companion to the show. But Strange New Worlds is kicking ass. And now a friend, a homie, Giraffe, here in San Diego, who's a big Star Trek fan, helped me get the pass for Comic-Con. Her panel was fantastic. But also, I also saw a panel for Demon Slayer, and they had the full cast, or at least the English dubbed cast there, which was sick because there wasn't a lot of cast for shows at Comic-Con for obvious reasons. But they got me so hyped for Demon Slayer, and I just finished season 2 last night because I was so hyped about it. And just hearing how stoked they are and what goes into the voice acting and how just pumped they are to be a part of it. It got me really fired up, and that was probably one of the biggest panels I went to. So yeah, check out Demon Slayer. It looks like it's going to be insane for this upcoming season.
Ooh, Demon Slayer. I think I remember in a text message, I was like, they'd be so tight if they did live animation with the live reading, and then that's pretty much just watching anime. So
yeah, absolutely. Right on. Well, let's move on. That's kind of San Diego Comic-Con in a nutshell. Oh, yeah, we went, Christine and I got to go to this cool X-Men party where they brought the Hellfire Gala to real life, which was really fun. Whoa. So shout out to Marvel and D23 for hooking it up with that. All right. So let's talk about Jack Ryan season 4, man. What'd you think of it?
Oh man, I enjoyed the first Jack Ryan, and then the second and the third, I was like, well, this is kind of weird. Are they just trying to expound upon things that we've kind of already seen? Kind of like Jack Reacher in a way. I enjoyed Tom Cruise's Jack Reacher 1. Jack Reacher 2 was kind of a little weird. And then in getting into the newest Jack Reacher series on Amazon, I was like, oh, this is pretty tight. So as it pertains to this newest Jack Ryan, the one standout thing is Michael Pena.
Yeah. Oh man, I love me some Pena.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like I'll watch anything with a Michael Pena in general. I did. I've watched him in a lot of different
You're so good. You're at a loss for words.
It's so good. I'm at a loss for words. Like everything that you enjoy about Michael Pena and his acting. His mannerisms, but also he's in a position where you kind of never really seen him before. He's, to put it lightly, could possibly be the most dangerous assassin on paper.
Whoa. Even more dangerous than Black Widow?
Yeah.
Or Sicario?
Yeah. In this situation, the most dangerous operative, on paper. And you get to see him do it in a way that isn't, over the top. But very much so like pimping and foreshadowing.
Under the bottom.
Yeah, under the bottom. And
got you.
It was just really cool to kind of see him in that light. The story in itself was kind of very similar. There's something happening in the behind the scenes, and it's like a sort of to a degree like a deep state situation, and Jack Ryan has to come in and he figures it out and he pushes boundaries while, some people who are front facing kind of have to keep everything simpatico, in the public's eye. It's definitely thrilling. There's definitely a lot of action. There's some surprises here and there. I don't think that it was over the top where you were like, oh man, that's so crazy. What a twist. But, if you enjoy action shows, and you enjoy a little bit of thought-provoking things, get into some Jack Ryan season 4.
Right on. We'll have to check that out. Yeah. Awesome. I know there's definitely some people who've listened to this show who are into Jack Ryan. So thank you for that. All right, Lincoln Lawyer. Talk to us about Lincoln Lawyer.
So another thing that my wife and I were watching was a Lincoln Lawyer, which is so much different than what we've seen previously. Just because what was the original Lincoln Lawyer was what is his name? Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
And it's based off of a series of novels. And you get very much so that same type of vibe, but it's a little bit more playful, almost kind of like if you've ever watched the show Lucifer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it gave me a Lucifer vibe, but a lot more like law and things of such. They do kind of go over kind of like a Sherlock Holmes situation, where you get to see Sherlock Holmes kind of go over the same style of events, but in different interpretations. This is kind of the same way with Lincoln Lawyer.
Wow.
So very similar storylines from the Lincoln Lawyer you saw with Matthew McConaughey and within the book series, but just a little bit more played out because it's a series. So they get to kind of be a little bit more on the edge of your seat with how they're ending episodes and going into other episodes. The acting is pretty decent. I think the biggest profile name in there so far is Nev Campbell.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Robert Horry was in there.
Nice.
The basketball player.
Oh,
I believe.
Wait, what? How does
that
fit into it?
I mean, he's in the show. He's not the show.
Okay.
But I think it made me immediately think about your wife because she's currently going through law school.
Sure
is. It's pretty fun to watch people get lawyered, just like how you think about Grey's Anatomy and people get doctored.
I think about Marshall Erickson from How I Met Your Mother.
Lawyered.
Yeah.
So if you're into that kind of stuff and you got some time, like get into it. It's pretty fun. They are kind of hour-long episodes. So just be aware of that if you have time constraints.
Right on. Yeah, and you said a season 2 is coming out, or it already is out?
I want to say a season 2 is already out.
Okay, right on. So that was for season 1. Are you going back in for season 2?
Probably. Technically, Alondra and I haven't finished season 1, so we'll end up finishing that up, and then we'll get into season 2 as soon as.
Sick with it. All right, that was Lincoln Lawyer. Definitely go check it out, and that's on Netflix?
It is on Netflix. Yes.
Right on. All right, so let's talk about the movies that are setting the internet and the world on fire. They are blowing out box office numbers. I was very fortunate to see both this past week. And let's talk a little bit about Oppenheimer first. But I think you asked me a question before we jumped on. What was your question about Oppenheimer?
Did you like it? Was it...
Yeah. No, I think there was a question of like... yes, do you like it? But where does it rank within Christopher Nolan's movies?
Oh, yeah. Like, if you could compare it to another movie, if you had to, what area, what genre, what way would you name that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one, yes, loved it. Absolutely breathtaking for me. It was incredible all around. Now, what can I compare it to? Well, we as I was telling you offline, on the other show I do, Challenge Accepted, we did a Nolan month. So we challenged back and forth on different Christopher Nolan movies. The Prestige, Inception, The Dark Knight. What was the last one? Interstellar. So I've watched a lot of Nolan recently. And the only thing I can compare it to, for me, is other Nolan movies. Because it feels very Nolan-esque. There's the tension, the way he uses the score to highlight the seriousness and significance of a scene is there. There's just different cinematic shots in the movie that feels very Nolan-esque. It's pretty amazing that you can have a 3-hour movie like this that moves. I mean, it definitely... It felt like 3 hours and then it didn't feel like 3 hours, both simultaneously. You're like, oh, okay, that definitely took some time to tell that story. But also you're like, what happens next? What are they going to do about this? How are they going to figure this out? And it's really incredible, I think, storytelling. Christopher Nolan is one of the best to do it for obvious reasons. And I think he really gets to shine and show what his skills are as a filmmaker, because damn, he dropped the bomb, and I'm not even, no pun intended.
Literally.
Yeah, it's sick, man. It is really good. Cillian Murphy, an absolute standout. Matt Damon is great in it. I'm trying to think of who else. Emily Blunt's fantastic.
Oh, wow. Studded cast too, huh?
Super studded, and everybody adds to it. Whether they had a lot in the movie or a little, everybody adds something to the movie that's in it. And wow, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it was heavy too. When I walked out of the movie theater, I was like, geez, I might have to take like a Zoloft or something like that. Like got me. It emotionally destroyed me a little bit. And I think that's kind of the point, which is fantastic. So yes, I think it deserves all of the accolades it's getting online. I think, with everybody saying how good it is, I think that's true. Cillian Murphy is a leading man who's deserved to be a leading man again for a long time. I think the last time he was a leading actor was 28 Days Later. And so, I think 100% he shows the level of mastery he has at his craft because he does so much with so little in his face. Like just the reactions you get from it and everything. He knocked it out of the park. So a really incredible movie. I fully recommend for people to go watch it. And I don't think this is breaking SAG rules. So if it is, apologize. We can cut it out later. But we're trying to support. I'm trying to support SAG-AFTRA and WGA in this process. So just with that being said.
Yes, of course. One thing I think I asked this offline to you is like, what is the genre of movie? Is it more of like a thriller? Is it more of like a biopic? And based on movies like this, right? Considering that the atomic bomb was such a huge, planetary, global, humanity-changing event, right? How does this particular movie and Nolan really bring you into the fold with relating to Oppenheimer and his creation, but also his concerns?
Yeah, so it's crazy because I think the film does a great job of highlighting that this was one of the greatest achievements man has ever done, and simultaneously it is a device purely used to destroy and murder people. So I think that it shows you how hard it was to even get this developed. Then from there, the type of man it took to develop it, what he had to go through, and the realization of what he had done after he created it. Like it messed him up. And, as much as he did this thing that supposedly ended World War II, I mean, from different perspectives, it wasn't necessary. From another perspective, it's what capped the end of World War II. And man, just the struggle and the conflict he had to go to within himself after realizing the magnitude of what this would cause from being used is crazy. He really, Nolan and Cillian and the rest of the cast really show how impactful and hard it was for him to develop it. Just and allow the government to use it from there. It's freaking it's nuts. It's nuts. I think everybody should watch it. Being Japanese too, we talked about that. It is weird, right? Because it was used against people from our ancestry, our heritage, and it truly was a country defining moment, both for America and for Japan. And it's brutal. It's so sad to think about that, there was innocent people, civilians that were murdered just out of nowhere and just were eradicated off the face of the earth before they could even realize what was happening. It's brutal. But that's what war does. And I think, we have to collectively as a society, not try to get deep and put like a serious message in this episode, but we really have to look at what our impact is in the world and think it's going to be important because you never know how you're going to be impacting anybody, whether it's one person or hundreds of thousands in a different country. Again, you talked about globalization. I think this shows even in the 1940s, globalization was becoming a big factor, and it's only been expedited with logistics, with travel, with AI, with technology. We are becoming a globalized society, and what we do can and possibly will affect future generations, whether they're here in the country we live in or maybe other countries around the world. So that's me thinking shit I do is important, but it's probably not.
No, but that's interesting in general, just because we think about how movies can affect us, right? We're viewing it as entertainment, but at the same point in time, it's telling a story through visually, which is kind of one of the strongest mediums in terms of being able to give reaction, whether that's emotional, physical, guttural, etc. And to hear that there's now a movie like that currently, not that there aren't movies or haven't been movies like that, but I think we definitely get a lot more, entertainment to entertain versus something that to actually make you think and feel. So, Oppenheimer, I assume, Barbie is the exact same way.
Totally. You know what, though? There is a deeper thread in Barbie than I thought there would be.
Elaborate.
Yeah. Okay. So Barbie was, first off the bat, loved it. I thought it was great. Almost in some ways more meta than Deadpool, more meta than She-Hulk. It really plays off the perceptions of what we think as a society as what Barbie should be or could be, or what women should be or men should be. And I appreciated it. And I've said this in my immediate reaction video right after I saw the movie, and I do believe it. If you are an Andrew Tate kind of guy, somebody who macho man, the man should lead, all those kind of things, this may not be a movie you enjoy, because there is a lot of playing off of that. And I think it's really well done. I thought it was hilarious. It also allowed room for me to look at myself as a man in our society and think, am I overly privileged? Am I not allowing women around me to show their emotion? Am I minimizing their emotion? All those kind of things. And you know what? Maybe I am. I'm not perfect, and I want to be better. But I think that there are those themes in this of like what a perfect woman should be, of what a perfect man should be, or what leadership in a man could be, or what leadership in a woman could be, and reflects on it. And we have to look at it. And I think it allows you to kind of go home and chew on that, along with being entertained, along with laughing a shit ton. Really, really well done. I thought Greta Gerwig knocked it out of the park. Margot Robbie is already fantastic. I don't think I have to tell anybody she's amazing, but she's incredible in this. It's a full range of emotion. She really leads this movie in, and very like her character is very humble because she's very ignorant to the world, almost like an elf situation with Will Ferrell. And like, even though Will Ferrell's in this movie as well, but it's funny. It has those themes.
Wow, that's kind of interesting. I haven't watched it. I've only seen some of the trailers, and I think to myself, like, is this like a Clueless situation, but like you talked about, a little bit more meta? And then obviously everybody has kind of thought about Barbie in the way of, to a degree, like segregation of genders, right? Like girls play with Barbies, men's play with
G.I. Joes.
G.I. Joes, right? And so you're saying in this situation, it questions a lot of those themes. Not only that, but it gives you some hilarity. What are some of the funniest, well, I guess let's not spoil it, but in terms of the moments that are funny, did they immediately precede or what is precede and what is that? Before or after intense moments and intense dialogue?
Yeah, say that? Yeah, does that work? Yeah.
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 Jeez.
Dude, Ryan Gosling and Simu Liu going head to head is fucking hilarious. So dynamic. I'm so happy this exists on screen because them playing opposite Kens who are kind of rivals, God, it is so damn funny. They crushed it. They have this rivalry in the movie, and it just works, bro. It's so good. I don't want to spoil anything. There is a certain wrestler turned actor who's in it, who pops up a few times, who's amazing, cracks me up. Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie just goes fully in. There's like she's almost like the Grinch, if you will, in this movie, and it's sick. It's so funny. America Ferrera, she's not as funny, but her real life husband is in the movie, who gets to play her husband, and he gets to drop some funny jokes in there too. So yeah, dude, it's funny. It's funny, but if you are like too worried about gender roles and all that stuff, you may not laugh at the jokes. I thought they were hilarious. Christina was cracking up. My theater was cracking up. Like, it's great. But you got to just kind of, go in, and if you are a guy, I think you kind of got to go in and just be willing to like laugh at yourself. And one thing about me is like always want to be able to laugh at myself, not take myself too seriously. And if you go in with that mindset, you're probably going to laugh a shit ton.
Okay, so would you, having watched both movies and having been consistent in the content that has been coming out in the year 2023, would you consider Barbenheimer to be the highlight so far of this 2023 content year?
Good question. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I saw before this that was like the highlight of my cinema going experience. Man, I've seen so much. I've been like kind of getting lost in the sauce, but I could say Oppenheimer and Barbie. And there's one other movie. I know people would want me to say Across the Spider-Verse, but I'm probably not going to put it in my top 3. I'll probably put it in my top 5. But I can't remember what the last movie reviewed. But they probably have made it into the top 3 movies, in my opinion.
Oh, wow. So early. We have movies coming out for the rest of the year. Obviously, we're barely onto the 7th month. Halfway through this year. So we got a lot of content going forward, but to hear that Barbenheimer is nice at the halfway point, that's great to hear.
Yeah. What do you want to see more, and what do you think you're going to see first?
From what I've heard and kind of seen within like the memes and things and such, I think I want to see Oppenheimer first.
Okay.
Because I want to feel the intensity and the intrigue, and then be able to finish it off with some of that, but hilarity. I do enjoy me a funny movie, as you know. So
it's a good palate cleanser.
Yeah, it's a good palate cleanser. So I am gonna go Op and Barbie or Oppenheimer versus Barbenheimer.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. I can't make a better version. The internet is already undefeated in like mashing up those names. I'm not going to even try, but I understand your sentiment, and I'm really happy I saw it that way. It's like I wish I saw Across the Spider-Verse before I saw The Flash. And before, I saw early screening, as you know, and the director came out and talked about how he's going to change all these things in the movie. Spoiler alert, he didn't. But like that might have changed the way I looked at Across the Spider-Verse, and it definitely would have changed the way I looked at The Flash. I'm happy I did it this way. And to be a part of this phenomenon that's going across the country with Barbenheimer is just what a time. Like it's amazing because there's been so many bombs this year, right? With Indiana Jones, The Flash, Shazam, Elemental. It has been climbing now, which is great. It's been like slowly moving up and making money and stayed steady, which was awesome. But you're right out of the gate, it was kind of a bomb. So to see 2 movies who are pretty opposite that are both crushing at the box office in the same weekend, it's like, no, the box office movies are still very much alive. It just has to be the right quality and the top tier movies. Like, give us good shit, we'll show up.
Yeah.
And man, like, so what a weekend all around. Oh God, it's so good. It was so good. I loved everything. I got to do just amazingly fun stuff this weekend. And I'm really thankful and grateful for everybody who was a part of it, who created the things that I got to enjoy, who ran the things that I got to enjoy. You all deserve, a million applause. And I can't wait for next year for San Diego Comic-Con. And I can't wait for you and Scott to see Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Yes, definitely. I mean, hopefully we can get together before the next Avatar comes out, just because that's probably going to be a nice anniversary for us.
Right. That was the last time we were all in person, for those of you who are just tuning in. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But it was your hashtag birthday weekend. So if you don't know, now you know.
Thank you.
We would, Scott, we definitely need to make it more of a situation to kind of come together, either view things or experience things, and then kind of get our reactions in the moment, if not post, just because that's kind of what people want to hear from us. They want to see it from us as well, too. So like and subscribe. Please.
There you go. Yeah, we'll put that in the tag before the episode, so that way we can hopefully get some extra subscriptions in there. But 100%, if you're listening now, we appreciate you coming on, and tell us if you've gone to San Diego Comic-Con, if you watched any of the shows we talked about, if you watch Oppenheimer, if you watch Barbie, tell us what you've watched. You can find us on Twitter and Threads, Instagram, YouTube, all the above, and what you liked about them, what you didn't like about some of them. If you thought, Barbie was too woke, if you thought Oppenheimer was too sad, whatever it is, hit us up, let me know, and I'm curious to hear what you all think about it.
Yeah, and definitely let us know if you'd like to see a Barbie Oppenheimer mashup, where both of those movies with so much intention kind of come together and create hopefully a fun parody.
Yeah, let's do it. There's the parodies are going on right now.
Yeah,
that's happening
as well.
For sure. So, All right, Drake, you want to close it out for us and say the ending catchphrase?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what it is. Thanks for sticking it with us.
Okay.
The Joystick Show.
If you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, we'd really appreciate a follow, subscribe, and a review. Just how we like chatting with our friends, please share this with yours. Feel free to join the squad and follow us at JoyStickShow Joystick Show on Twitter and Instagram, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you feel like submitting topics or questions to be discussed on future episodes, you can email us at joystick.show@gmail.com. As always, thank you, peace out, and make it a great rest of your week.